Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 14, Week 2. We still don't have the Season 14 ticket. I gotta yell at Greg about that. Game 2, Crusader Knights and Dragon Ball Zeus. Last game, Drow Ranger. Let's see what happens this time. I mean, do I really even need to say anything more than that, right? Like, Drow Ranger, period.
Yeah, I'm
5 seconds
curious why, I'm gonna ask this actually. Why is it, do you think, that Kunkka's such an import ban? Is it a particularly commonly picked hero for somebody, or do you think it's more...
It's London's
they're
main,
not
like,
confident?
his most signature hero, perhaps.
I thought he was all on Void Spirit, honestly. I didn't remember that.
Like the London Big Four, in my opinion, you've got Kunkka,
10 seconds
Magnus, Void Spirit, and Puck. That's the Big Four for London for me.
5 seconds remaining.
That's a bunch of heroes who value
Radiant
movement
team
mechanics.
Going all in on
Speaking of
London.
movement mechanics, the man that denies them, Magnus, is no longer in play.
Yep. The thing I said to the to B&10 when I was helping with their strategy on week 1 is you know, London is going to pick heroes
Dire team
where
pick.
if you all gather in a certain area,
Oh.
it's going to punish you badly. No mercy. If you all gather in a
Yeah.
certain area, he's going to punish you badly for it. So pick heroes that are going to be close enough to support each other, but not so close. Like, so you don't just get eaten by Kai, because that's what he
10
likes. He likes it when you have
seconds
5 guys who are relatively split up to pick off one by one.
5
Find
seconds
guys
remaining.
that are going to be close enough to
Radiant
support
team
each other, not far enough to get picked off by Kai.
Yep, there's the Death Prophet again.
In game 1, we got that, and in game 2, we got a bunch of guys who all stood in the same spot, and London picked Magnus and owned them. So you know how it goes.
So let me ask you your opinion on Death Prophet here. What do you think exactly is
10
the
seconds
problem with the
remaining.
hero? Like, she's not exactly super good right now in my eyes. I feel that as we witnessed in that previous game, the exact moment she's required to hit her ult and abilities, like, there's almost like a rhythm you have to follow with when you hit them. You can't just throw them out whenever they're off cooldown to keep the silence and stuff going. There's a lot of weird timing you have to pull off to make sure that certain abilities are suppressed, make sure that certain enemy heroes are baited into using the wrong ones, and then just keep them suppressed again after they've dropped certain ones, just to try and prolong those cooldowns, to keep them coming out at bad times. I feel like that level of effort might be a little too much to be convenient.
Instant Ogre Magi. I mean, the real deal for it is a bad DP game. They're picking it because Scotty wants to play Death Prophet every game. The reality
Really?
is, his sponsor, his DP is balanced or
10
whatever.
seconds remaining.
The big deal is that
Dire
Death
team
Prophet
pick.
is really, really good in games where she has good lockdown to sustain it.
Okay,
And
yeah,
she's
tiny.
really, really not so good in lineups where you don't really have much lockdown and the enemy has a lot of ability to just right-click away from you. That was what was killing Death Prophet in that last game. She just ult and all the
10
important people would
seconds
just walk away.
Yeah, also, that is not something you want to
5
see,
seconds
is
remaining.
a Tiny with an attack steroid in the same team.
Ogre
This
Magi.
early, too.
Ogre Magi is kind of a shadow of his former self, but he still definitely has that A. Is likely support Tiny, though. Likely.
I still would not underestimate any Tiny pick in any position, because all he needs is a little bit of edge. As long as he can get one item that allows him to get a kill a little easier than necessary to kill a hero, and he's instantly become a problem for your whole team. Like, if he can one-shot the Crystal Maiden in a single volley of his abilities, that's kind of expected. But the second he's able to just randomly show up in mid with an Invis rune and just flatline your mid lane, that's not something you want to have happen.
Consider the last game, and consider what I just said about DP, right? Even if it's a support Tiny here, it's still going to definitely have very large impact against a Death Prophet. As
Dire
long as
team
he's not the
back.
one that gets silenced, consider this, right? Can
Really?
throw
Early
people...
Medusa pick?
That's very early. Can throw
Yeah.
Death Prophet away from your own team, or can throw VIPs on your own team away from the Death Prophet.
Okay, hear me out on this, right? This current team pick setup. I'm assuming that they're going with some kind of bit here. It's like, oh, they think
10
they picked their
seconds
pause one early. All right, we'll do the same. I think what might be
5 seconds
happening
remaining.
here is that Medusa is going to be used, believe it or not, as a pause 2. That
Yeah, it
sounds
could be
like
Medusa.
absolute heresy in some circles,
Dire
but
team ban.
Medusa is not exactly unheard of, and it can sometimes be more effective when you don't want Medusa to be the primary focus.
Medusa. Let me tell you why I don't like it in this game, though. I don't like Medusa early game, any game against Tiny.
Radiant team ban.
If she's a low mid, Tiny can just kind of come up and kill her. If he's mid, if he's 1, if he's 4, doesn't matter. Tiny can just kind of roll up any part of the early game. Probably once he gets that first level of grow, and is basically a guaranteed kill on Medusa. And maybe she ults, and then maybe he throws her under their T1
10
tower and
seconds
she dies.
remaining.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all about timing. It's all about timing.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough
I'm-
game for Medusa.
I'm not very sold on the idea that this Medusa is anything higher than 2, maybe even 3. You never know. I've seen Mystic Snake spam builds where the Medusa doesn't even bother going into anything attack related until like mid game. It's strange. It's not as effective as it could be. And one of the snakes on her head is like drunk. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's sideways.
It's really distracting. It's like, ah! That's Harold. He's a little different.
Yeah, it's Harold, alright. Got
Oh
him.
man, but we we lost our train of thought here. Anti-Mage and Dazzle are no
Yep,
longer
they
options.
are.
Neither is Spectre.
Dragon Ball Z is getting rid of a lot of counters to Medusa here, but it's gonna... I don't know, it's gonna take more than that, and I think they might be falling into the trap that MK Ulti fell into when they faced LST with Kai standing in for them in Season 13.
Radiant
It's hard to ban
team
Kai. He's gonna play whatever he
Centaur.
wants. No Kentaur.
Okay, I don't know why they would really push for a Centaur ban.
Because their strategy last game was to right-click away from Dragon Ball Zeus, and they don't want to have Dragon Ball Zeus just right-click towards them instead, is the
10
answer.
seconds
I
remaining.
guess that's true, but I think it'd be safer to just pick him. To be honest,
5 seconds remaining.
their team could. I think even in the like middle ground, I think it's better to have a Centaur on your team than to have him banned.
I think Vex just doesn't like to play Centaur.
Dire
And I don't blame him.
That's
I don't
a-
like to either.
Yeah. Meek's Assassin.
Assassin.
Yeah, that's a good pick versus Medusa and Death Prophet.
This is going to be a core Tiny.
It might be. It could be. I don't know. Maybe it's sort of like what we're theorizing with Medusa. It might be a 2 Tiny.
Could be, yeah. No London
10
likes to play some
seconds
Tiny, man.
remaining.
We had a bit of discussion about that in the lead up to the Bean
5
10
seconds
match.
remaining.
We do know that he likes to play a little bit of Tiny. Could be Kiney. Could be even like Vex on
Dire
Tiny, because
team
people are doing 3 Tiny again.
Warlock.
Warlock.
Hey, my man. I love seeing Warlock picked.
Warlock's gonna
love
have a
seeing
very
Warlock.
important role in this game. There was one thing that's a shame about Warlock, is he's kind of bad at saving Medusa in particular. Because, you
I
know,
don't think
mana
he's-
shield.
Seconds remaining.
That's true. I will say one thing he has an advantage of is
5 seconds
if
remaining.
they don't have that Centaur to force haste through things, I'm going to tell you what's going to be extremely effective this game. That's going to be Warlock's upheaval.
I tell you what's going to be extremely effective this game is Fatal Bonds plus Medusa Split Shot and Death Prophet ult.
Yeah, and imagine being stuck in all of that while slowed to like -2 move speed by Warlock and upheaval.
Upheaval is good, but against a team like this, where there's definitely going to be some mobility items and there's definitely going to be some
Tiny's
unconventional
gonna be able to, yeah, he's
positioning?
gonna be able to lob people on top of Warlock too.
Primal Beast! Now that's interesting. Do I like the Beast here? I think
He
I
has the
do.
ability to gap close. He has
the ability to
and
gap
he's got
close.
phenomenal stuns.
He can keep you sitting in the Warlock crap for half an hour
10
straight.
seconds remaining.
He's got a big slow. You know what? I think I like it. I think I like it.
It's
5
also a
seconds
persistent, repeated stun that he can set up, and he likes to take hits in lane to fuel his bullshit.
On top of that, this is actually probably going to be a good game for the Primal Beast Shard, funnily enough. You don't see many people buying that
Yeah.
thing very often, but
Yeah, the big rock.
the big rock. the
I
split
threw a
shot
rock at him.
It was a big rock.
Man.
I like how we have Tiny on one team and Primal Beast on the other. Can we have a special interaction?
He grabs Tiny. I hope he grabs Tiny.
Can we have a special interaction with Primal Beast and Tiny where if he uses his shard, he just picks up and throws Tiny? Oh no! I'm being killed by irony!
Blood from a stone.
Crusader Knights are running the clock here. They've got 20 seconds of
have
reserve
team
time with
back.
two.
Viper. I can't say that's bad, but I don't think that it's really for anyone in particular. Oh, actually, I know what it's for. They want Viper for the attack slow and Medusa, I think. They're still afraid of that.
See, attack slow on Medusa. He's going to have a really easy lane phase because he's going to be. I assume this is 3. He's going to be laning. He's going to be laning against Medusa, which is already easy, and he's going to have the attack speed steroid from Ogre Magi if they do it right. Viper Ogre is a very, very nasty lane. I was trying to get that sort of done with the Guap Circles last season. It's a very nasty lane.
Not to mention Viper in his totality just kind of shits on Primal Beast.
Right.
Dire team ban.
There goes Timber. It was going to happen eventually.
No Timbersaw. Another Timbersaw ban. Why are they... Wait a minute. Why are they banning Timbersaw? Do they think Dragon Ball Zeus is going to run Timber mid or something? Is it not pretty obvious? This is... 3 beasts?
10 seconds remaining.
No, I just thought of something a little scary, right?
Sure.
There is full-heartedly potential we could see something extremely dangerous over on Dragon Ball Zeus, and I don't know what crawled into my mind to suggest that they might have it, but imagine if they had, well, their namesake, Zeus.
Ooh, yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, this will be a very, very good Zeus game, and the one problem with it is that he is, well, it's good offensively, but it's really bad defensively.
Yeah, Neeks can really mess him up, too.
Neeks messes him up, Viper literally doesn't care about what he's got, and Tiny just rolls over him.
10 seconds
but
remaining.
if played correctly, and it's not exactly hard to do so, Zeus could absolutely flatten him. It's a matter of preference here, what they're going to have as their...
it would have to be a very baller Zeus player, and it would have to be a very baller Zeus game, but I do agree with that. I think that would be a very good Zeus game.
It makes Neeks' life really hard. Ogre is particularly vulnerable to getting blasted to smithereens this patch.
And again, it's another really good thing that goes on the Fatal Bonds.
Oh, yes, actually, you're correct. I'm only seeing positives on this, but it could be someone in...
Odin.
Okay, someone close to Zeus's potential. You know what? I like it.
I think that still works. I think this is actually a pretty good comp on Dragon Ball Zeus's part.
In fact, played correctly, OD can honestly save any member of his team from Ogre's multicast, Tiny's toss and stun, Viper's ult even. OD's got the ability to save himself and others from like half of their skill roster.
Question
is, isn't just upfront damage can be dodged.
Question is, what's Crusader Knights' last pick going to be, and is that going to change the equilibrium here?
I've got a feeling it might be something like Sniper.
How about Weaver?
You may now
Weaver?
select your heroes.
Not quite what I was expecting, but actually no, I think that might be a bad idea. OD and namely Primal Beast are really good at holding people down and getting them set up to get hit even harder. And Death Prophet's Silence is the one thing Weaver can't get around, yeah. The one thing he can't... Weaver and Viper look like they're cosplaying as each other.
Yeah, it kinda does.
I like how Medusa's got this fancy cosmetic that gives her different snake hair, and Herald is still, drunk.
This is definitely a Doomsday Clock type game for the Crusader Knights. I really don't see, after a certain time period, how they could possibly win this match. They gotta do it early. They definitely can do it early, but they gotta do it early.
There is one way they could actually cement a victory, and believe it or not, it hinges on Ogre.
Actually, I think there's one good way that they can cement their victory that does not hinge on Ogre. They got a fantastic pushing lineup. Here's what needs to happen. Viper needs to get Shard, and Tiny needs to get Shard as early as humanly possible, and they need Ogre Magi to just sit by, hit E, and not think too much by them. If they do that, they're going to be taking out towers in like 2 seconds. and that is not something that you want to have happen to your team when you're playing as Medusa.
I like how Medusa isn't even visible in the team photo here. Well, we have quite an enigma of a game to roll out with here.
It's true. This one is going to be hard to call. It's going to be, I mean, it actually is easy to call because it's a Doomsday Clock match. And as London just succinctly told us, if the Dire, if Dragon Ball Zeus are able to hold off for a decent enough time, it's going to be mostly up to OD to make sure that happens. Oh, God, stop. It's going to be up to OD to make sure that happens. But if they do hold back for, I would say about 30 minutes, or at least if they, you know, unless they're getting, like, just totally stomped. But if they're able to hold out for, like, 30 minutes, it's going to be really, really hard, if not just outright out of the question, for Crusader Knights to win this match. You know,
it's got to be so difficult to hold your train of thought with all these wacky sound effects.
Yeah, it sure is. Kai's picking up a pretty early hero here. I would not say that Weaver is on the top 10 best scaling heroes list by any description. Tiny scales pretty well.
He has the best like early mid on their team, in my opinion, with Tiny.
Tiny scales pretty well, but later on in the game, he's going to be kind of hard pressed. Once his early on, when his shtick is going to completely kill Medusa just by hitting Q and then W at her, it's going to be really, really good for Tiny. But when that's no longer the case, he's going to find it pretty hard to not just get ulted and die, I think, just from how he has to position in fights, where he has to be useful. It's gonna be tough for him. Funnily enough, I think this is an easier Tiny support game than it is a Tiny core game.
Good block over on Tiny's end.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
He's definitely gonna get the. Oh.
Nope. Very fast.
Quick draw on that.
Very fast attack speed on the OD is gonna make the first few levels kind of hard to deal with for Tiny. But the point of the matter is, later on, it's going to be very hard for anybody on the team to be able to do much about Medusa. If she gets there. After trading out with the Ogre Magi and the Weaver here bot.
Yeah, trying to keep an eye out. If this game's going to be anything like the last, we have to keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah. Just multi-man melee.
Got to get your fingers on them hotkeys. Got to jump between heroes like crazy.
That's true.
Yeah, DP is not trading well.
The good news is that the Primal Beast E just kind of stops anything from happening here.
Yeah, Primal Beast has one fantastic feature of this base kit, is that he's not. It's sort of like that patch where Centaur got tons of bonus damage from being beat up, right? He just turns around and kicks your ass. Really not something. It's kind of like Visage in a way, actually, where you think you're winning, but you might not actually be.
Tiny's been pulling out, actually, quite a few last hits here.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's what I get for trying to figure out why that is. And man, he goes down quick to the Primal Beast.
Yeah.
Goes right under the tower to get rid of him here, but this could be trouble. Nope. Kai's not actually able to out-damage the Death Prophet. And she gets out okay.
Weaver escapes by a scrape of health, and
Neek's assassin kills Medusa's courier. They're not actually going to do Viper Ogre, they're actually going to do Viper Neeks, which isn't too unpredictable, really. I don't like it quite as much, but it still should have the same effect and get to... Shut the hell up! It should get to what I was... Stop it.
I feel...
Stop it!
I think this is intentional.
Stop! It's trolling us, bro! It's trolling us! Anyway.
I don't know why that particular sound effect is so loud.
Yeah, it really is. Anyway, as I was saying though, it's definitely going to be a good lane against this Medusa. Basically, no matter what happens, this is going to be a one lane.
Ooh, nice.
For the Radiant here at top.
Blind Impale. Oh, the upheaval! I like it. It's gonna get Medusa away safely.
The upheaval is going to get her a save, but it's not going to do any wonders for a mana bar.
That it won't, but I'll tell you something right now. As a religious max leveler at early game of upheaval, that is a skill worth its weight in gold. Not if Medusa randomly wanders out into Viper's effective range, though.
And dies, yeah.
That was really
In fairness, that
ill-advised.
probably did not look like it was going to be like a full kill there for Viper, but it certainly was.
They really should realize at this point that they can't afford to mess around with Nether Toxin. That is...
Speaking of Nether Toxin, I don't like it, this lane. You're basically never going to get Medusa sitting around, and that stun from
It
Nyx
keeps
is
her
not long
from
enough.
having the option of sitting around and fighting, though. I'm
That's true,
eat it
but-
here.
Yep, there's Chakes a trade here. I think Tomato actually probably is the #1 person to thank for how this fight turned out, because he's just beating up Primal Beast during that. Either way, this is all I was saying, right? Don't like the Navatoxin in this lane. I think you just go all in Q&A. I think the E is actually a more effective deterrent for Medusa fighting back, because, you know, that's not something that she can fix by taking 3 steps.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real, though. I still say the value point Nether Toxin's paramount. Just getting rid of the room for error to prevent somebody from having the choice of sitting around and fighting, even when it comes to beating up Neeks if they decide to do so.
Problem with it in this lane is that, like, it's not actually going to be effective enough at doing that, and here's why. Upheaval. If you try to use another toxin to force the other guy to not be able to sit there and fight, that's fine, but, not only does OD not die, which takes out the point of me coming down here, he also denies the water rune just to annoy London here. Is not going to die. So we're going to take a quick look at the kill he missed a bot while watching this. Man, Rada going very hard here under this tower again, but this time he can't quite sustain it.
Yeah, the trick with Primal Beast is to be confident, but to have a backup plan. I don't think he was packing a Fairy Fire or anything to keep his HP topped up under that.
Right.
Man, he is gonna eat it too.
Yep. 2 kills here in the bot lane for the Radiant, which ain't great.
Man,
Not great for the bot.
just saying, imagine if they did have that Zeus instead of Weaver.
Not instead of Weaver, but instead of OD, I think you mean, because you were calling him for the other team. OD's not 6 yet, so either way, it's probably fine. See the upheaval there actually did not manage to save the Medusa here.
Not this time, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the problem isn't exactly running away being the issue or closing the gap. The problem that's being, well, frankly speaking, Warlock is topped off. Medusa is not.
Yep.
This is one of those games where you have to be a really aggressive little chihuahua and you gotta be nipping at them ankles and making the enemy team piss off.
Honestly, I think if you do that, you just die. This is going to be one of these scenarios where, as Radiant, you have to come in knowing you're going to lose this lane.
I mean,
just
I'm not
trying to
saying...
minimize the casualties.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out here. I think that Warlock should have taken a different approach to his build, and so should have Medusa. I think Medusa should have, unironically, you know, hear me out here, put no points, maybe 1, but few points, minimum points, in Mana Shield, and split it evenly between Split Shot and Mystic Snake, and have Warlock go all into Fatal Bonds, 1 point of upheaval.
Problem is that most of your damage is still going to come from Snake here, and if Viper doesn't put a point into this thing, Corrosive Skin's going to get up to 25% magic resistance, which means that even with the Fatal Bonds, the Medusa Snake is still not really going to be doing much to him.
The point of that is to Fatal Bonds the
Also
creeps, and yep, he just... No, dude, teleport. You got a TP, right?
Honestly, I don't know if he even gets out in time with the teleport roll.
He would have been
9
fine
is
if he had hit it immediately. I mean, the second that ult hits you, you leave. Speaking of... that's
Really
unfortunate.
misses the stun. Absolutely does not matter here, though. Goodbye.
He's playing in third-person mode.
Yep.
No,
Now, honestly, I
I've actually
think
seen an
because
experimental
Nyx
mod
is
once
so
upon a
close,
time.
because Nyx is
Go,
so
go,
close,
go.
I think what happens if Warlock starts to TP here is that Nyx just goes here and drops a stun.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't know if he survives it, especially because Sniper also has another toxin to drop there. And, you know, he also would have got the kill if he had another point of that, but, you know.
Man, what? Kai was... Okay, yeah, he was fine. Oh, he dove
He's
tower.
trying to dive here and just going to eat a bunch of tower shots and die.
Oh, Primal Beast comes in swinging.
No Death Prophet to back him up, but it looks like, well, maybe that's gonna matter actually.
He's got no
Just one hit.
cooldowns. Ogre's just a little faster.
Wow, even with phase boots being used, that's the power of Ignite, baby.
Primal Beast, no shard, report. Bing, 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 bing.
True.
Yeah, that rock actually would have gotten him a kill, but sadly, you can't get that until a little later in the game. In fact, one would say much later, because his shard's honestly really underwhelming. It's not awful, but it's definitely got problems. It feels placeholder-ish, you know?
By the way, this is part of why I don't actually like the level 1 Nether Toxin in lane as 3 Viper. I think it's very important to get Nether Toxin as mid Viper, but if you're off lane, this is such a small amount of damage, it's basically useful for one thing. It's good for turning off passives if you have a good stun with it. Better stun than a level 2 Impale, anyway. This is very, very little damage. You saw Medusa stand in it for like 5 or 6 seconds and lose not even 100 MP. But now she's gonna lose her life.
Ooh, death.
Or not!
Good one.
Okay.
Good one.
Never mind, she's gonna lose her life.
Not this again. God,
As I was saying, earlier, please do not do. Here is an LD2L request. Please do not spam the TikTok soundbite. It's so goddamn loud. It makes it so much harder for me to cast your matches. Anyway, as I was saying, we got another skirmish going on here in both lanes, having fights at mid and bot. London's very low, but he's just taking so little damage, and Dusty's here.
London plays some excellent bait.
Yep. OD goes up to try and finish the job, but just finds himself crashing along the cliffs.
Takes an entire Christmas tree up his ass.
Yep. As I was starting to say though, that's not great. You definitely want OD to be living and getting some stuff done early game. The fact that this is a guaranteed lost lane basically means that the Medusa death timer is going to be pushed back, right? And given how badly this lane has gone, it's definitely probably longer than that 30 minutes that I mentioned at the job of the game, unless she plays this really, really well.
You know, I got a positive question here, right?
Right.
Remember how I said I hate and like sequels depending on the degree of quality? It's a saying of mine, right?
Right.
I don't think I'm fond of this one. It's a bit of a rerun. It feels like. I mean, look, we got this advantage over on Radiant side, and it's looking really one-sided so far.
And
Extremely one-sided so far. Okay, they get a little bit of a
DP gets the kill. Medusa's gonna go down though, and I think that matters a heck of a lot more, especially considering Viper's still alive to see it happen. A good rotation, but not enough. I think the biggest problem here is you just need a better save than what Warlock has to offer you in this particular lane if you want Medusa to be even vaguely okay. You need big stuns, you need something position-wise, or you need something for magic damage. That's basically your 3 options here.
Yeah, they don't have a lot in the way of stuns, so if you're getting like jumped underneath all your your tower and your heal buffs, the best you can do is just fight it out. You can't sit there and try to right-click towards the tower, because if a Viper's jumping you, he knows he's going to get that kill.
Oh,
speaking of getting a
kill. On OD, no less.
These fights come out of nowhere. You can't blame us for this.
Yeah. But as I was saying, we're gonna have some more happen here, but Ogre Magi's... Nope, he ain't going anywhere. This is very sad. Not the biggest loss. It is Ogre Magi, but that still sucks. He's gonna respawn without a TP, which is gonna really hurt Radiant's strategic ability here.
He's got 2 mangoes, 1 for each head.
It's true. Yeah, you can shove one into both mouths and eat 2 at the same time.
I'd like to point out, it is 11 minutes. This man's got a Blink Dagger, and he does not have a jungle item. None of them really do, I don't think.
I just like to point out that OD tried to deny his tower there, and he didn't beat the catapult rock to it.
A golden thread.
Just very, very sad.
Oh, look, it's the funny shovel.
Radiant's bottom
Great.
tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Listen, Vex. Okay, this is a 91-200 talking to
Structures
you.
are fortified.
Read the stats on your goddamn skills, okay? You see that? 25% magic resist on that corrosive skin. Alright? You see this? Alright?
Dire's
You see
top
this?
tower is under
Alright?
attack.
Get your
Dire's
goddamn
top
corrosive
tower
skin if
is
you're up
sold.
against a bunch of magic users as Viper, please.
It makes their lives
Radiant's
infinitely
bottom
harder.
tower is
True.
under attack.
Beast is gonna get annihilated. Almost under tower here by the Radiant. Kill
Nice
squad.
return fire with the ult from Warlock. Unfortunately, he is surrounded.
Not the right kind of return fire. Got a golem here.
I think he
open?
honestly expected his. Yeah, I think he was expecting his team to stick around for that one, but I don't blame him.
I mean, in fairness, there wasn't a team left. You know,
Radiant's
Primal was
middle
dead
tower
and
is under attack.
DP was already just pulling out. So
Dire's top tower is under attack.
DP gonna go for the Viper here.
Nah,
by the
just
way-
looking to push him off tower.
Another great reason here. Corrosive skin, bro. 25%
Radiant
magic
are
resistance.
scanning.
You know how much magic resist you have at base? 25%. Would you like to resist double what other heroes magic resist for free? And
Yeah,
also beat the hell out of them if they
Oh.
try to kill you? Or would you like a tiny little
Wow, that's
tiny little
brutal. I
passive
love it.
break and push skill? Sometimes you want that. Also another fight happening while Kai get knocked out. Both pause ones getting knocked out in the span of under a minute here. In unrelated circumstances, which is kind of funny.
You know who I think would have been a better choice than Ogre, honestly, this game?
Who?
It's gonna sound weird, but Sand King.
Sand King? No, I think they're going to need the Ogre. I think this is going to be so important for them in the long run.
You know, actually, I think you're right. Scratch that. I think they could have swapped the Neeks for a Sand King.
Could have done that. Could have gotten a VS as well. Could have gotten a VS over the Neeks to have...
Actually. Lance of Pursuit. Ooh, that is a... Actually, I like that on OD, looking at it.
Yeah, it's not a bad,
Dire's
not a
top
bad thing to
tower
have. The
is
slow
under
isn't
attack.
It's
much.
what yeah, the slow isn't much, but it's the extra mana with the slow. Like, again,
Yeah.
I find that a lot of these jungle items are made for certain heroes, it feels like, and it definitely seems to be...
But people, like I said last time we discussed the item, people call it the Ricky Lance. I call it the Abaddon Lance. We are not the same. I'm actually going to find OD here. OD's actually not gonna call this bluff. It is Viper alone. But Primal
Nice.
Beast has no such issue. OD
That was a
ult
little
is a
premature on the ult.
Yeah. Whatever, he still killed him. Everything is good in the world. Primal Beast got to witness a kill.
Maybe the ult was to make sure Rada didn't bite it as Primal, because he's having a rough
Yeah.
game.
You can see here he's not doing much better than his Pos 4, who in fairness is way higher than any of the other supports on the lineup. In fact, he is so high that he is higher than the Medusa on his team. I really gotta question this DP. I gotta be honest with you. It's with a Medusa, I feel like you have to play it a very certain way, and that way is not being played here.
Medusa doesn't even have her ult level. This is a undeniably, how do I put this gently? This is a head scratcher.
I mean, it is traditional if you're not getting killed as Medusa to not level your ult, but I think you really do just kind of need it. I mean, I know people don't like to get the ult leveled early because these are two very important farming skills, and I get that. But also, this is a, this is a 3-second stun, 35% slow. You can just kind of hit this and probably TP whenever anything goes wrong. If you're getting this stomped as Medusa, absolutely level your ult early.
Looking at this, I have to... Tiny still doesn't have a jungle item.
He's saving
What is
too.
this, a form of protest?
Yeah, that's true. They got 5 jungle items. They got 3 actually.
Tiny, my
on their
man,
team.
take the broom handle. You have no idea how actually comfortable that thing is.
Yeah, that's a really good tiny item.
That thing literally covers like 3 of his primary weaknesses.
Speaking of Prime, Beast is coming out. Oh, but Ogre Magi puts the brakes on that. Super
Instantly
hard.
stunned him out of it. And he's dead. He is dead before his team can even get in cast range. Holy hell.
Now his team just has to retreat. Is the unfortunate
GP's
fact
in
of life.
real danger, but yeah. Oh, a specialist array from Medusa. That could be good. Maybe.
Could be.
Dire's top
Does
tower
not
is under
does not
attack.
help the shots that come from that do not themselves split, but that's still 2 more split shot attacks.
It's a little extra that could help her farm, and that is crucial for Medusa right now.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
And she agrees. She has gone for it here.
No, not this again, please. London, you are killing me. I am dying.
How do we see here? What's the quote from my sucker?
If I ever get my claws on that bird. I'll
Except
get
it's a
you
claw.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Oh boy.
Beast
You know what
here.
I've never liked about Ogre Magi's multicast? It can target things that are in the fog of war.
It is a little annoying.
Nothing I hate more than wait in the trees. It'll further back the enemy team suspects me being. Ogre is an idiot and just hits an ignite on a creep, and it just instantly like hits me and blows me up, or not ignite. What do you call it?
Ignite.
Oh, it's ignite, not fire blast. Yeah, this flies over, gives me away, and I instantly get jumped.
Okay, this is not a great
Wow.
way to start this fight. OD
Yeah,
and
Tiny
DP just
just
walked all
came
over
in.
each other's shoes.
They got OD, but lost 2 for it.
Yeah, it did start turning around a little bit for them.
Tiny's in over his head. He doesn't have enough to survive this.
Actually, it's turning around quite. It's going back and forth. Neek's assassin bought back there.
Primal Beast is just hounding on Ogre, but it's just not enough. Tiny,
Tiny's
I really don't think you should be sticking on to try and fight that golem.
I gotta be
Man.
blunt with you. I don't think it's a great idea to try and throw buybacks. Well, no, they didn't do that, did they? I was gonna say for
Dire's
Dire,
bottom
should
tower
not throw
is under
buybacks in
attack.
the meat grinder for the early game team. Neek's assassin though, that was a good buyback. Got right back into the fight, right back into the thick of things, and
And several people survived because of his involvement.
most notably Tiny, yeah, Tiny who almost assuredly would not have lived without the Neek's assassin there.
Vambrace and Philostone just dropped for their respective team.
But as I was saying, that was an exercise in disastrous communication on the part of
no,
there.
barely missed.
Doesn't matter. Viper's still very dead. Definitely cannot be solo in a game like this. Well played.
Yeah, I feel like both teams are beginning to enter the phase where team fights are the norm. Speaking of specialist array, on Medusa, now it's on, looks like Weaver.
Well, they're on different teams, so.
Well, no, they both
Oh
have
yeah,
it
they
now.
both.
Dire's
Yeah.
structures are
Like, you
fortified.
literally just saw it pop up. Wake up, Joe Biden.
No, I thought you were saying that Medusa gave the specialist array she was holding to Weaver, and I was gonna say
No. No.
Weaver's gonna opt not for the array here. He's gonna keep that big
Dire's
bolt.
Imagine, right? I've actually seen a game, believe it or not. I was in one where I think it was a Spirit Breaker on our team really, really wanted the broom handle, but they didn't get the drop. So he actually begged the enemy team, "I will give you our Grove Bow for your broom handle," and they actually like stopped in mid, made the trade, and played the game as normal.
Nice.
Now that's what we call diplomacy.
That's economics for you.
They actually ended up losing that game, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it's for
Could be
any
bad for Weaver.
indirect.
Oh, not if he has Lincolns already. Then it's a-okay.
Okay, 21-minute Lincolns. That, you know what that is? That is pissing right on OD. That is just absolutely spitting in his face.
He
That
also
is
has a full
insult.
Atos already. Oh, and Molsky's gonna die somewhere randomly.
What? Where? To what?
To the enemy team jumping
Double-
on him because he was standing right here.
Yeah, remember that thing you said about not being alone? You are entirely correct. There's no reason to be out even warding or de-warding alone at this point in the game. This is just two bands of kill-hungry warmongers looking for easy blood.
As it clinks in a friend of mine's games once wisely said, "Don't alone. He said another word after that, but I can't say that on TV.
Speaking of things you can't show on TV, this Medusa.
Medusa is going to be.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be able to show Medusa on TV because her family's going to watch the news and see her die like that.
You know, probably it's just sort of similar, functionally speaking, to Sand King in a sense. I gotta say, once you've hit all your buttons and nobody's died, it really makes your hero feel impotent, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like at least
Vex
when
versus
Sand
Golem,
King
who will
does
win?
this, he can't be stunned out of it, really.
Vex, by the way, at least got that shard earlier, which is good.
Good. He just needs to actually hit the damn tower. There we go.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And down the tower goes.
Dire's middle tower.
And again,
Yeah,
like I said, you know,
yeah.
it's 22 minutes. This team has lost 2 T2 towers already. That Viper Shard plus this combination of people on his team, this is going to make these guys absolute push monsters. And, well, to say the least, things are not going good
What's
for Medusa
happening
here.
bottom?
Medusa, who... Now we
Uh-oh.
wait. What's happening bottom is Death Prophet was just down here probably looking for an easy kill or something. Maybe couriers. I don't know. Does have Vex, so maybe she was thinking about pushing this tower over?
Hmm.
But you know, I was saying about the 30-minute thing, the 30-minute thing. I was talking about how it's getting pushed back by Viper, like with winning the game so hard. Yeah, it's getting like pushed back more and more and more. She's head-to-head for net worth with Ogre Magi. Who, in fairness, has both a Philo Stone and a Hand of Midas. So it's not as bad as that sounds on paper, but god damn, is it not good to be lower than all your other all the other cores in the entire server plus one of those cores.
I would also like to illustrate. Remember how last game we said that it was like 24 kills in 24 minutes? It is literally 24 kills in 24 minutes.
Oh, last game it was 24 kills at 24 minutes too, just on one side of it.
Yeah.
24 to 22
But,
in
now it's
24
even
minutes.
more
Now it's
one-sided.
24 to 14.
It was like 24 to 22 or something. Yeah, now it's like really lopsided.
In fairness, it's not that surprising. Like I said, Radiant is backing a very early focused lineup.
And Viper just got Aegis and a double damage run. I think they're going for GG push.
Yeah, that is some rough stuff.
golden thread.
I mean, Viper has his... he's got his Ag Shard, a double damage rune. He'll probably finish his BKB in the middle of this fight. He's going to kill somebody. That's almost an assured outcome.
He's gonna look for the range and can't find nothing there.
Oh my god. Please don't start the chain.
Dear Ice Frog, please take this out of the game. Thank you. Uh-oh. Well, now he's not even gonna need the
That could be
BKB.
huge. That could honestly be huge if they kill OD right now. He needs to commit to this 100%.
How does he not kill the OD here? Oh, they find
Oh,
an even
oh,
bigger
oh.
target, arguably. Oh, they're still
Medusa's
actually...
hit her ult. They don't care about Medusa.
OD is trying to get it to at least waste the time on the OD here.
Oh,
OD does get the
pops
ult
the
out,
Aegis
Viper
and
Aegis
dies
goes
for it.
down.
DP's got her ult running, but what's she gonna do?
He's gonna
Buy
spin,
a
waste a
little
little more time.
It's the best
Silence.
she has. Oh, death damage. Primal shows up to beat up Ogre, but it's so impotent it doesn't get anything done.
And he's out of the game.
Usually Golem dies too. That's everything. That was everyone's ults and 4 lives out of 5 down, and they didn't get a single person, and only 2
Just
ults
got the Aegis.
blown. 2 ults
Dire's
got blown in
bottom
that
tower
fight.
is under attack.
Hey, in fairness, Ogre and Tiny don't have conventional ults, so...
Not conventionally, no, but that's still effectively...
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
The lack of a conventional ult only goes to prove that if that person didn't die in the fight, then something has gone wrong.
Oh.
People that don't have conventional
There we
ults
go,
are typically the
Bravo.
people you want to die
Is under
first.
attack.
Visibility.
So did indeed not die from that. OD didn't even buy back. He's just so low level that that's how long his spawn takes. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's the top net worth on their team. And he respawned in the time it took for the creeps to walk to the T3. Which on one hand is good. On the other hand, oh, that's so bad.
Alright, let's
Viper
hear it then.
finished
What
BKB.
item do you think that they can build to save themselves from this, right?
Weaver has a satanic.
Okay, never mind. They are host. Weaver thought to himself, you know, Screw magic community. I want to choose violence today. Psychic headband.
Maybe they
That's
could all.
gonna throw people even farther.
Maybe Dire could pull all their money together and buy a tank on the market. Oh, I've heard M3 Stewards go for pretty cheap nowadays. The armor on that might not be enough though.
You know, I'm pretty sure there's this area in Germany of all places. I vaguely recall hearing that someone turned a bunch of old tanks into like little Airbnbs.
It's kind of funny. Well, buy one of those, retrofit it to be an actual tank again. And there you go.
I can't wait to sleep in the cold, uncomfortable confines of a frickin' Tunguska.
That would be fun though.
Maybe a little.
Well, Tunguska's not really a traditional tank anyway. But you know, it's still in the spirit of
I
things.
think
So
it's aircraft, isn't it? Ah, we're getting off topic anyway.
yeah.
Odor Seal Totem. That sounds really funny on Tiny.
For the record out there, for all you military history fans out there, shoutouts to Mikkel. It's only a tank if the main gun is like a conventional cannon style, or at least a machine gun style, for use against ground targets.
Titan Sliver just dropped over on the Radiant. That's not good.
But it's still an armored vehicle, so you still got that. And yeah, the Titan Sliver on Radiant, that's not going to help. I mean, this is pretty much a dead game for Dire at this point anyway. Medusa is just hopelessly far behind. You know?
Yeah, she's got the apple of praying to God the game lasts long enough. Seriously,
Yeah.
anyone who is holding that apple is in a position that either says there's nothing better or they're screaming to any god that's listening, save
Dire's
me.
top tower is under attack.
Nobody's holding on to the Brigands late, huh? That's interesting.
Brigands is good, but who would you really think could take that on their team right now of all people?
on
I
their
think their
team,
best
yeah, not
choice
really
might
anybody.
really be DP, if anything, but she's got better things to use.
I wonder if that works on the Primal Beast Tantrum. That'd be funny.
It actually might.
No, actually, let me
what's
answer
a-
that for you. Let me answer who that's better on. It's better on OD. Loses a 200 mana. I don't care. That's a lot of attack damage on him, and he attacks a lot. Tick tock, tick tock. They're trying to drive me crazy. They're trying to drive me crazy. They're trying to drive me crazy, but I won't listen. I won't
I
listen.
think that might be a bit of a taunt at them, saying that they're taking forever to give this one up. They nearly have as much of a gold advantage as they have kills.
Yep.
Because there are almost minutes in the game. That is... Ooh, I don't mean to sound like a downer here, but I don't think that Dire's got a shot at this point. If they pull it off, I'll be impressed with them.
Radiant's
because
still
this
got to
look-
win.
That's true.
That's the
But-
important thing here. This is not one of these games. I don't care if you have a 24k net worth advantage. You can't siege this forever. You gotta win. Because it does not matter how bad things have gone for Medusa this game. If you're
The
just
longer they
constantly
prolong
pushing,
it,
yep.
Yeah.
If you're constantly pushing waves of creeps to her door and
I
she's
think
putting
Tiny's
no
ready to
risk,
go.
she's not giving herself any risk to come and take
A
them.
golden thread.
Eventually,
Weaver-
this is not going to get bad.
Yeah, Weaver, by the way, has so far shot beyond it. I think he's got more net worth than nearly everyone on that team combined.
Weaver is nearly 3 times Medusa's net worth. 3 times Medusa's net worth. Which again, like I said, is not the most surprising thing in the world. This is a very early game lineup, looking at a very late game lineup. This to be the case right now is not that insane. But the amount of, like, the degree to which this is, it's really gotta hurt.
Right. Nani, could you do me a favor and let's see what everyone's level currently is?
Sure thing.
Oh my god.
If you want, I could also look at this fine chart here to show you everybody in order.
No, Warlock.
Okay, Medusa the second lowest. No, we're gonna have a. Val and I are going to have a very frank discussion in this post-game chat about how this team needs to operate.
Do you think the Medusa second pick could have been like a misclick, maybe?
I don't think the Medusa in itself is the problem here. I think it's the execution around it. Because Radiant never really, outside of like Tiny in the early game, Radiant never really had that great of an answer to Medusa. They have the mana break, sure, but
Smoke?
that's early. Again, smoke coming out.
Dire
I
are
try and smoke
scanning.
out of the base here, hoping somebody's just praying somebody's in that triangle. Nobody there. Honestly, take the ogre. Honestly, take the ogre. You're not going to kill a board. Just get the ogre, get what you can get. Be done with it. And they do get the ogre. Not to Medusa, but whatever.
Yeah, I didn't go to Medusa. But, oh, here comes Neeks.
Good stun.
Catches 2. They all turn to hit him. That's it. That's it. It's over.
Dire's top tower is under
Neeks is
attack.
going to go down, so they do get the Neeks at least.
Brought back again. Weaver's in no real danger.
Vader's
Unless he
got
forgets to hit
Weaver.
ult.
He was stoned. He was stoned by Medusa there, by the Medusa ult. This is interesting. This is really interesting. But I think they're kind of running out of steam here. Ultra kill on the OD, then he just goes down to the tiny so ingloriously. He needs to buy back
He's
and back
got
into
buyback,
this.
yeah. They
we
can't
go.
leave this. They can't leave this to chance.
Medusa doesn't have the buy.
That upheaval's doing work.
Did I say Medusa doesn't have the buy? I meant DP doesn't have the buy. League's Assassin's gonna crawl out of the base. Dragon Ball Zeus has another day to survive, at least. Oh, Tiny coming
not
up.
taking that. I took direct offense to that buyback.
never mind. Yeah, it's done.
London is not having any of it.
Nope.
I
Maybe
think
the
that man
cemetery.
got a 10-minute power nap between games. What do you think?
Maybe.
Dire's
Definitely
Very good
more
twitch
aggressive.
reflexes on the blink dagger there. You can see his Magnus playing pedigree in
middle
that.
barracks has fallen. Dire's middle barracks.
And he's gonna say,
London
I don't
might
care
be
what you got. You
overextended
can't kill me.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Nope, his team pulled it right in on him, and now Primal is paying the debt of life.
I like how he dies by a creep being thrown at his head.
A waste of a Medusa ult. That is painful. These
Viper's
smokes
gonna
right
come
there.
right back in. They're saying, okay, you use a Medusa
They
ult,
don't
that's all I
care.
got.
They've got Shard. They can just eat towers and buildings for breakfast.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Look at this.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Want to see an ancient die in like 5 hits?
Dire's top
leaving it for the
barracks
creeps,
has
I
fallen.
guess.
Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks. has
Ta-da!
fallen.
That's melees? Or that's not melees, that's megas, rather. Well, I mean, this is a pretty simple story. Dire was on a doomsday clock and Radiant won before the clock actually struck. Well before the clock actually struck, in fact.
Dire's
And,
middle tower has fallen.
While it would be very, very nice to say that the Radiant was making super awesome ultra plays that really helped out the game, and they did, don't get me wrong. Do not twist what I'm, no GG's guys, come on. Do not twist what I'm about to say in this, post-game analysis here.
Dire's ancient is under
Okay, we're
attack.
calling the G's. Do not twist what I'm about to say in this post-game analysis here. The execution on Dragon Ball Zeus leads me to believe you cannot run heroes like this. You cannot build around a Medusa like this. The team execution on that front, it fell so hard, so flat, so fast, and was so obvious. I mean, good God. It took Medusa until over 30 minutes to pass Death Prophet for the net worth. And that wasn't because Medusa wasn't farming, it's because Death Prophet was. It's because Death Prophet was farming as much as Medusa, OD was farming as much as Medusa, and Beast was almost not in this game. Just to be
That
honest.
was flatter than West Texas. Yeah, she was out of that game.
To say the least, you cannot do this. You cannot do this if you have a Medusa on your team. Dragon Ball Zeus needed to play a 5 Protect 1 style game here. They needed to devote everything they could to getting Medusa online as fast, as comfortably as possible. And honestly, with how lane phase began, like one of the big things that they could do to that end, for example, would have been like a tri-lane, right? That would have been awesome. But not this game. And in fairness, not like they had a great tri-lane lineup anyway. It's not like Death Prophet is going to be great in a tri-lane, but either way, the point is, if you're going to run a Doomsday Clock into the World Puzzle lineup like this, and they actually did have the tools to do so, you most certainly cannot run a Doomsday Clock lineup, and then just not feed the Doomsday, you know? Let's talk about trains, okay? You know, some people out there really like trains. Shoutouts to Katie. Um, you could have the biggest, baddest, craziest train in the whole world. No, let's actually use the tanks again, all right? You can have the biggest tank, the baddest tank. It can have the most guns. It can have the most, firepower. It can have the biggest, baddest armor that you've ever seen, okay? And that literally doesn't matter at all if you don't give it any gas or ammunition. You know, it's a pretty simple prospect here, and this team just went above and beyond in the field of not doing that. Here's the start, alright? Here's the start of it. Scotty cannot be playing Death Prophet in a match like this if this is going to be the strategy. Scotty was sitting at not just above Medusa, but above Primal Beast's net worth for quite a bit of this game, and was sitting above Rada's net worth a lot of last game as well. Ended last game, I believe, above Rada, in fact. You can't do that. If we're going to be doing this, what we need to do is we need to switch Scotty and Rada and have Scotty play pos 3 DP. And even then, I still kind of question that if he's going to be this much of a money soak, if we're going to be doing that for a late game focused lineup. Now, you can do that fine and get away with it if you're looking at an early game. Minoy did something. There we go. Minoy did something almost exactly like this week 1 when he was standing in for Iceman's team. I almost said Lone Sniper Theory, but no, they're Attack on Elder Titan this season, right? Minoy played a pos 3 Death Prophet and was rather greedy about it in the game top net worth, but they were on a team where that was kind of the point, right? They were building around the idea that Death Prophet was going to be going crazy here, and in this game they just picked him Death Prophet because that's what he wanted to play, and that didn't do them any favors at all. Overall, it just comes down to this. This Dragon Ball Zeus team, and I'll be looking at their week 1 game in the catch-ups later tonight. Dragon Ball Zeus, they need to find where their strengths are as a team, and they need to lean into it. This feels like 5 guys playing entirely different games. I gotta be honest with you, this felt like watching a pub team. It sounds really harsh, but I'm just gonna say it. It felt like they were watching a pub team, and just watching poor Boss and Rada just get kind of pile-drived here by their own lineup here. I don't know. It's not good. Need to fix a priority. Need to fix it all that. And I know you're trying to get into the awards, but I want to talk about just a couple of more things to wrap up the game before we get into
God, hog it all, why don't you? Get on with it.
You're gonna talk. You're gonna talk for a very long time when I'm done here. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, as far as the Crusader Knights go, I mean, Vex, learn how to skill Viper in lane, please. That's the only issue. Ogre Magi, I think, needed to focus more on his E. Nothing really to say about anything else on this side of the affairs. I think there were a lot of comm issues in Game 1, and I think a lineup like this, if you're going to have those comm issues, at least have them with heroes where that's not really a big deal. London can basically play single player, Viper can basically play single player, Weaver can basically play single player, and on a lineup like this, against what DBZ had, that's A-okay. And there, now it's your turn.
All right. 20 years in the making, here we go. All right, first off, Warlock. What can I say but definite improvement from the Winter Revern game. Unfortunately, I don't think the lane you were thrust into with the responsibility of protecting a Medusa against a setup is not. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like that Neeks and Viper combo was very deliberate. It was intentional. It set out to cause as much pain and agony as possible. They succeeded, and you were not prepared. You get the right place at the wrong time award, my friend. You were just not what they needed. Not for any lack of your effort, mind you, but what could you do, my man?
Bowled over, and just had not really much tangible impact on the rest of the game, unfortunately.
I mean, I could very much say that you like to play Warlock. You got a very high rank on him. It shows in your effort to try and save Medusa, but there's very little you can do to stop Viper from getting a kill on an enemy hero that literally doesn't have the option of escaping conventionally. Now over on to Scotty on Death Prophet. Honestly, did good. I can't really say much else was in need of direct like adjustment of gameplay method. I just think that you definitely had a very tough task in that you had to apply almost all of your team's tower pushing pressure with Medusa being out of commission for almost the entire game. And Warlock can't exactly afford to drop his ult when he has to drop that specifically to save someone else in most of these fights. The odds were also stacked against you a bit, but what do we even call this award I'm trying to give him here? I think I'm just going to do the generalized "you did your best" award.
And I'm gonna pop in to say you get the greedy piglet award. Please do not end another game in this season with more net worth than your pause 3 or 1, or else I'm gonna blow a gasket.
I think that's something he can't really control when his ult is in effect, typically.
There is a degree of that, but it's also like, I've seen some pause 5 DPs who end the game at the lowest net worth on their entire team and use ult every time it's off cooldown. There has to be some control involved here.
True. Next up, we've got RG, Outward Devourer. You didn't really do anything overwhelmingly wrong. In fact, you were honestly kicking a good handful of ass for a good chunk of that game, but I think you were just trying to push uphill here. You get the Sisyphus Award. You pushed uphill, only for that boulder to roll right back down every time Medusa died. You get the Sisyphus Award. Not granted for any method of horrible crimes you may have committed in the past, mind you. That's not symbolic in any way.
Well, I mean, it might be. We don't know anything about this guy.
Wait. Oh no. Oh, not like this.
Yeah, he's Ted Cruz. He's a Zodiac killer. What's Zuzu's award? that's Rada G. Gast, by the way. We've done casting.
Yeah, that's
before.
Rada. Honestly, he was doing great. He helped snag a lot of early kills, was definitely applying pressure with his hero where it could. I just think he was on a hero that didn't quite have enough to give after a certain point. It's a hero that definitely bullies in lane, but once they caught on to their shtick, it ceased to work after a little while.
I could give an award here if you wanted me to.
Yeah, go for it.
You get the I said assertive, not insertive award. In game 1, you ended with less net worth than your support. In this game, you ended with just a little bit more. If Scotty is trying to just make such a monopoly on money, you gotta let him have it. And I don't mean give your ice cream to him. I mean let him have it. You can definitely see the support player pedigree in Rada, because I think both games you just kind of said, okay, I'll cool it, I'll let you take it. But no, you gotta seize a little bit more than that. I think maybe.
Actually, I think I have a little something else I can give him. Actually, just like a minor little pin, like itty bitty little badge I can give him.
Okay.
You get the Fearless Award. It's been given many times before, but anytime you saw an opportunity to go flying in with your ult or any other skill that could do some work, you were not missing in any given fight. You were definitely the first one to go charging, and that's sort of Primal's thing in most cases. Unfortunately, again, you were expected to do this on the behalf of a Medusa who could not get to the finish.
Yeah. And in fairness, a Medusa who could not get to the finish on the backs of a team that really wasn't that interested in helping her get there. Yeah, like I said, the actual play is good. When you get into fights, the way you play in fights, the way you position yourself, the way you get, I like it. It's good 3 stuff. You just need to, A, find some money, right? Learn where a 3 gets their money, learn where a 3 takes their money, and get some more, credit score under your belt. Can't be ending games lower net worth than the enemy supports. B, make sure to itemize correctly for the scenarios, which, I mean, neither of these heroes was like a itemization makes or breaks type hero, I don't think, really, for 3, not by 3 standards anyway. I mean, every hero is made or broken by itemization, but both Beast and Night Stalker tend to build a little bit more predictably. That's just a general thing. Let's move on to Boss.
Boss. I honestly feel bad for you. I don't know if it was you that requested the Medusa pick that early. I don't know what was going on in your team, like, in your decision-making in there, but
You know, the sad thing is that outside of having the mana break, just for like basically lane phase, because that's about as long as it really matters to Medusa. Um, outside of the Neeks, they really didn't even counterpick it at all. Like Viper is not
Yeah,
really a
no,
Medusa counterpick in himself. Like so on and so forth. They didn't even really counter it out. It's just the execution fell so flat, so badly they didn't need to.
you get an award I haven't had to pass out in a while, I don't believe, or if I have had to pass this one out, but you get the Wet Fart Award. Sorry, self-described, but it just sort of made a mess, and it's not something to go home writing about, you know?
Right. I do think in game one there is a bit more of the "Where's my Luna at" award. You get
Honestly,
the Carmen San Diego honorary disappearing act award, as verified by the Waldo Society. Just a few too many times in that early game, you were just too far away from the push as a hero who's pretty much all about that.
Yeah, just wrong hero for the role that was expected. I don't know. I feel like Medusa just wasn't a good hero against that lineup too, even with farm.
It's the Learn Dota 2 League, not the I already know everything about Dota 2 League. He'll get
Oh,
into
of course. But
All right.
This is definitely something to write down in the history books, you know?
Crusader
At least the
Knights.
personal ones.
Where are we going?
The Knights of Crusader. I'm not going to start with London, because what's to say about London other than he had a literally flawless performance. I can't even give an award for that. This man's already got the fucking gold trophy.
He gets...
Sorry.
No, I
Second
tell
hard
you...
F.
I tell you what he gets, actually. He gets the semi in the single lane award for the first game.
Semi in a single lane going down the wrong direction, but it's still getting where it needs to go. Like, look at this man. 8-0-18.
It's true.
Armed to the teeth. Absolutely unstoppable.
Just if you pick Vex Pudge again, do not get in the way of the goddamn hooks all the time, please.
Alright, up to Ogre Magi. Honestly, I can't even say I was impressed with Ogre, like, ever, but this game, you were doing good. It's not something I can really say as Ogre crosses my mind, but you did good. I'm trying not to be biased here. What's
So this you get the You Were There award.
You were there.
You get the participation ribbon.
I mean, strictly speaking, their participation in fights was actually a little on the low end compared to some other people in this team, but I think that's sort of the hand of Midas's fault. That thing just it affects your mind. It's like an SCP. It changes the way your cognition works. As you go from being I got to be the sport to just one of these creeps, you know, just need that little bit of money. Just got to get that revenue.
He would have been the highest net worth if he was on the other team.
Oh my god, you're right.
That's the really messed up thing about it.
You get the Jeff Bezos award. You got a lot of money. There you go.
He was there. He hit his buttons. He took some smoke ganks. Like, he took the last gank, got everybody out of base in the second game. Whatever. He did pretty much just a exact normal, no frills support game.
No, if I'm not mistaken, despite the funny name, that is Vex on Viper, yes?
Yeah, that's Vex on Viper, and that's Kai.
Okay.
Not Kai, that's Dusty on Nyx Assassin.
Right, so Vex, once again, phenomenal play strategies this game. Same as the Pudge game, same with the Viper game. You got lots of good items. You chose very well with your choices, and even got lucky enough to get that ceremonial rope. So congrats on that one. That's a game winner in and of itself in some matches, I find.
I actually don't like the BK by this game this much, but other than that...
I personally think it's a little necessary against Death Prophet specifically, but that's all.
Yeah, it gets rid of the Death Prophet's silence, but so does a Lotus Orb, and, you know... Also gets rid of the OD ball. Well, not rid of, but it basically inerts it.
And keeps her from hoovering her entire health bar off. But he's got Magicka, so he didn't really need that. But then again, he didn't level as much as you would have liked, so it's a...
Also, if he gets Lotus Orb and DP tries to give him the suck, he just gives the suck right back. Actually, for him, his suck is more effective because he's got that magic resistance, she does not, so he wins the suck off. Yeah, definitely would have gone for Lotus here above the BKB, but aside from that, yeah.
All right, we're gonna pass up our boy Weaver just for a sec to talk about our man on Neeks.
Dusty.
Dusty, what did your items here? Was that you selling your stuff to BM at the end? Because I'm getting the feeling it was.
It's 283 GPM, so I'm gonna say decent chance. Net worth 134.
That many assists.
I'm gonna get, well, the net worth isn't gonna go down if he sells his items, because
Now,
it's...
let's do an expose on him right now. Let's see the post-match. Let's see if he sold his items
Yeah.
right before the Ancient exploded.
Yeah, we can do that.
This is it. This is it. We're canceling you live.
Nope.
He did.
This is
Wait,
he
no,
just has a
maybe
bunch of
he just used it.
consumables here.
Wow.
And you can see, no,
Wow,
he just
this-
has this inventory the whole game.
What happened to your items, my guy? Did you just commit that hard? I honestly thought you were BMing.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? You get... What do we even call this award?
You get...
You get the MacGyver award. You made the most out of nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Dusty had a paperclip this game, and he somehow used that to make an atom bomb. No, I mean... This isn't a game where he needed much. I think this is just a strong Neeks game in general. Like, every team fight, everybody's just going to be accidentally stunning themselves all the goddamn time. Literally 5 heroes that are going to be accidentally stunning themselves constantly. 5 heroes that get super screwed up with the straight line, impale, stun. You know, 5 heroes are going to get pretty screwed up. But at least until Medusa gets some more items, as far as the mana goes, I mean.
Yeah. And now we get over to the man who puts the W in Weaver.
That's Kai.
Kai, my man, what did you do? Holy
He killed
hell.
everybody. He picked it.
Yes, he did.
He picked an
didn't
early
just
game
kill
hero who likes
everybody.
to get a bunch of kills, and he got a bunch of kills in the early game.
He didn't just do that. He's so severely out-farmed and leveled everybody. I'm calling Smurf, my man. I'm calling Smurf.
Damn. And if you look at his actual last hit count,
Exposed.
it's pretty good, but is really not that insane for a game of this length where they were winning by such an advantage. Like, that's
He
10...
was getting at least 10 last hits a minute approximately.
Yep. But considering that his team had basically full map control at the 20-minute mark, and he was really, really ahead in items, I'm gonna say this is just like a case of he had a game where he could ball and he balled.
Yeah, a lot of the time, I try to give a lot of teams really balanced awards and these things. They don't really mean anything. It's just me being nice and providing a bit of entertainment and a bit of humor. It's a, bit of my trade, but I gotta say, Dragon Ball Zeus, they were getting raked through the mud this game, and I can't even help but sort of go along with it because why try to fight the river when you can just float along? It's just... I mean, look what they had to put up with.
Yeah.
An untouchable Tiny. A Weaver they only got kills on because, frankly, they got lucky.
I mean, there
And
was one
because
kill. There was one kill that
Roddick
they
had some
got.
good ults going in.
There was one kill they got sort of in the mid game. That was definitely Dragon Ball Zeus's initiative rather than Crusader Knights failing. Like, not really a luck-based thing, but yeah. I mean, yeah, this was a stomp. I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
I feel bad for them, honestly, but hey, this is a learning experience, right?
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Yep. So hopefully they do better in that in the next phase of life. So with that being
I hope
said,
the lesson they took away from this is don't pick Medusa 2, for the love of God.
hey, like I said, the sad thing is the rest of the rest of the pick phase, it really didn't hit her that hard. It's just if you pick it and they don't counter it, play around it at least a little bit. You'd be shocked how much things change. Anyway, if you're somebody wants to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, pick Oracle instead of Warlock this game. And this week's sponsor is me again, because, the delay has meant that I literally haven't seen all the Pause 3s yet, so the Pause 3 Dojo is still happening. It's just going to be to the start of week 3, at which point I will most definitively have seen all of you. And with that said, we're out of here. Any final remarks?
There's only one thing I have to say to all of you, and that is keep up the entertainment. We are pleased.
Except the goddamn TikTok. Please do not do that. You know what? I changed my mind. London totally threw this game. I mean, he should have died more. You should have died more. He's standing in front of all those goddamn hooks. If only they should have turned friendly fire on in game 1, because if they had, he would have gotten himself killed just sticking his neck in front of those hooks so many times. You know what? And you know what, Bliss? I don't even know you, but whose name is Bliss? Not filling me with any. I know that I'm not really an official in this league, but I give this game to decision to Dragon Ball Zeus because he didn't say TikTok a lot, and that's really what counts.